inside another dimension, face battling barbarians and evil magic on a quest for adventure in a maze of monsters. Once you get into it, you'll never be the same. Hero Quest. Now, with 2 new adventure packs, the legend grows.
Hi there. Welcome back to Not Your Mother's Hobbies. Today, we are finishing off our enemies for Mage of the Mirror with the penultimate villain, the Mage in the Mirror, Sinestra, the sorceress supreme. She's got a little wolfy staff here to denote that she is the wolf master. I'm not sure the story of this character. I know that she's like the sister to the queen or something like that. Pretty cool stuff, but I don't know the deep lore. But we're going to do this one today, and that's going to round out our villains for this latest expansion. Alright, starting things off really simple. We're doing her cloak with Black Templar. So we're going to get all of her big flowy cloak dimmed down and darkened with this Black Templar. I know in the artwork it is purple, or a shade of violet, really dark, deep shade of violet, but this is going to be our underlaying technique to really get that and give us some highlights and deeper contrast pretty simply using it this way. So we're going to base down with this black all of her robe and her hair, and you'll see what we do with that. Outlining the ears and her tiara can be a little tricky, so take your time, do your best, and remember, just like here, you can always clean it up, paint it over with some Wraithbone or your choice of white or warm white or off-white, whatever you choose. We're going to come over here and hit everything that we just did black with some gray sear. So that's the hair and the robes, and that's going to pop up the details back up on all these dark areas. You might already be able to tell what we're going to do to get that purple robe all done up. But we're saving that for later because we're moving on to some other pieces. We've got all kinds of other stuff to base coat before we even get to that. Like all the wood bits. So snakebite leather for my favorite kind of wood. My favorite wood look. We're going to do it for her rod or her scepter, denoting her royal lineage, and her wolf staff. We're going to do the whole wolf staff, top to bottom, in this snakebite, and we're going to do something way later to give it that interesting gray look that the artwork has, while still keeping a kind of woody undertone. Guilliman flesh here for all the gold and her flesh. She does, again, in the artwork. I'm going to mention the artwork a lot on this one because there's some creative choices that really influence what we're going to do. But we are going to base her skin with this Guilliman flesh, even though in the artwork she has more of a gray, pale, kind of D&D dark elf look. And I'm going to show you how we're going to get that. But we're going to start first off with this, and we're going to build up. And of course she's got all these little fiddly bits for gold detailing all over, so catch those best you can. We got chrome for her mantle, the part that goes around her neck, front and back. You're going to get this mantle that goes around her. And we're going to be doing some tinting later on, some glazing, to get that metallic purple, kind of like we did with the blue on the Frozen Horror. Finally, we've got some purple out. We're doing Luxian purple. We're going to do this undiluted for her waist wrapping. This waist wrapping goes all the way down and connects like a sash to the gold kind of tassels at the bottom. Here I have a mix. This is a pretty strong mix of a medium to the Luxian purple. I'd say maybe a 4-to-1 ratio, something like that. It's very, very thin, and we're going to use that for her robes underneath. Because these robes are a bit paler, and so we don't want all that oversaturation going on there. This is really going to help us create some differentiation between the different purple materials. We're also going to use this on her mantle that we just painted chrome as well. And here we go. Finally, at last, we're getting that purple robe. we're going to put undiluted Luxian purple all around the robe and her hair and just cover up all that we did. And it'll give us a nice rounded out highlight, some simple depth that looks real rich and cool. Alright, our layering. We're going to start off with our gold. So Retributor armor, going on for the gold. Put that over all your Gulliman flesh basing and blocking, color blocking, and just get that gold popped in there. She's got a lot to work with and a lot of fiddly little stuff as mentioned before, so take your time when it comes to all this stuff in the middle, the tassels and the ropes and stuff. Just take your time. Use a small brush, whatever you need. And then as usual, we're going to use Reikland Flesh Shade Gloss. And if you don't have that paint because it's not available, you can just use Reikland Flesh Shade with a gloss medium on top or any kind of flesh shade equivalent that you might have. We're going to use Slaanesh Gray. This is like a purpley gray, very bright, and this one's more red than another one I'm going to use later, so this one's a little more fleshy. So we're using this one to go all around and highlight her sash and her shoesies, all the stuff that was flat Luxian purple. We're going to use this. Then we're going to come in with Gray Seer and use that on her lighter robe. Again, that's going to differentiate and keep our different purples separated. You're really going to be able to see them in a kind of monochromatic scale. You're not going to lose them into each other, right? We want them to be wildly different tones, really, so that we can see them. Because otherwise it's going to get lost, it's going to get muddy, and you're not going to be able to tell what's going on. Druchii Violet here, we're putting that on top of the skin, and that's going to give a purple tinge to her skin, right? So we've got that fleshy undertone with this Druchii Violet on top, and that's going to sort of tint us into an ethereal direction, a magical direction. And from there, we're going to do our skin highlights, starting with Slaanesh Gray. Right, I had pointed out before that this one has a more kind of red undertone to the violet in this gray, and so we're going to use that as our first highlight up for the flesh. It's going to work pretty nicely, I do say so myself. Gray Seer on top, just to give us a little paler look on top. This would be our Kislev flesh equivalent. Just dot that around and start to really bring up some of those highlights. Remember, getting smaller and smaller in the area you cover as you go. And lastly, Pallid Witch Flesh. This is going to be our little pops, our little pings, our most glossy highlights on that skin. Really make those details stand out. Warp Fiend Gray here. Remember earlier I had mentioned we're going to do something interesting to get that gray wood, kind of maybe aged wood look for her staff. Maybe she's done something to it to give it this stony gray look. Maybe it's aged, or maybe she's treated the wood somehow in the carving. Maybe it's painted even, right, to give it that wolf scepter look, wolf staff look. Then we're going to use chrome to highlight all of our little metallic pieces, all the fiddly bits that we were straining to do. We're going to make them all pop out. And those runes that popped out nicely once we put that Reikland Flesh Shade on, we're just going to go around and not surround them, but just put little dots in the corners of each of the segments, and that'll really make them stand out. We're also going to use it on the mantle as well, don't forget that, and come back to do her hair with our trademark anime style. We're doing Demonette Hide for just adding some purple tones, Warp Fiend Gray. This one's a more neutral of those purple grays. This one doesn't have that warm red undertone in it. And then Bold Titanium White for our most hottest Don't forget the back. She's got all these tendrils of wild hair. You don't want to forget about that. Blood Angel's red. We're going to use this to accent some of the jewels that she has on her gold fiddly bits. So her tiara, and then she's got some beads. And we'll come back with a white. We're using the bold titanium white again, and just adding some highlight dots into the tiara as well as those beads. Then we finish our basing with our traditional gray texture paint, dry brush, wash, and dry brush. There you have it, the Sorceress Supreme, Sinestra, the evil dark mage of the mirror, in all of her glory. I really like how this one turned out. This is my first time doing dark elf skin like this. I've done it in many different ways, but one of the fun things about this Hero Quest series is I've been able to really test out new ways to do skin that I might have done differently before. I want to update it for something simpler, something quicker, or something that just overall looks better. And I think I've managed to do that here with this kind of purple dark elf gray skin. The robes came out really nice. You can really see the separation, but they still all kind of coordinate together and share that violet purple feel. But that's the end of Sinestra. So if you liked what you saw, let me know down in the comments below. Give me a little thumbs up, likey button. If you like gaming stuff, check out my Twitch. We've only got one more figure to go for Mage of the Mirror, the Hero. So I'll see you in the next one for that. Bye-bye!